Hi, so void of things here. Today we're going to be talking about the books that I've read in 2020 while you watch me fill in this blank part of my reading log with doodles. Okay, so the first book that I've read this year was the Oedipus trilogy, and it's consisted of three plays: Oedipus Rex, which is Oedipus the King, at Colonus, Oedipus at Colonus, and the last one, which is Antigone, which is about his daughter. Also had to read this for school, so as you know, that always dampens the reading experience. But with that being said, it was a really interesting story, and now, even more than a year later, looking back and reflecting it, I still remember a lot of various parts of it. And actually, I think Antigone, the third book of the trilogy, I think that even inspired Romeo and Juliet. So if you're interested in it, it's a really good read just to see where modern literature comes from and where we get our influences. So one of the books I read was I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I read this for school, so there's a lot of tabs and stuff. This is a very biographical novel, so I wasn't a huge fan because it was biographical. But with that being said, I did love the thematics and all the things that you could learn from it. So this was pretty nice. The next one I read was One Nun and 100,000. This is an older novel by an Italian writer, and it talks about how one person is made up of so many different versions of themselves because of the various perspectives that see them. And I did not particularly like the way that they carried out this philosophical analysis. I did write all over it because I do love the idea of the book. But book on our list is Cyrano de Bergerac. This was actually one of my favorite reads in English this year. It was this really beautiful love story, and it's wonderful. I gave this a full 5 stars. I think this is one of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite things that I've ever read for school. The next one was Othello. I read this version. I love the villain. The villain is probably my favorite character, which Things Fall Apart was a very good commentary novel, and it was very eye-opening about African culture and how imperialistic efforts during the time of imperialism really kind of made things fall apart for our main character. So I read the Spirit Animal series throughout 2020, and it has a good premises, it has a good plot. The writing is aimed towards little kids, so it is simplistic, it's not as detailed. There are some plot holes, but these are kind of just things that little kids wouldn't notice. So this novel that I'm doing a little artwork for is called The Color Purple, and this is honestly probably one of my favorite books of 2020. I'll link the review in the cards so you can check it out, but this is awesome. I've loved it so much. It tells you so much about life, about faith. It's just amazing. So this is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I read this for school, but I really did love it. It was about redemption, about life, about making the most of living, also talking a lot about mob mentality, how using violence for revolution and how it affects people. So I also have a review, so I'll link this review for this book in the cards. So this is The Wolf Princess by Catherine Constable. I honestly did not like this. I finished the entire thing. Kind of wish I hadn't. I just didn't think it was a well-constructed book. I didn't think that the plot was that interesting. I don't think it's worth the read. This is The Vanishing by Christopher Holt. I think I'm just at the point where I'm fed up with unrealistic talking animal characters. I think it was a little bit too kiddie for me. Jake and Lily by Jerry Spinelli is a book about two twins and growing up. This is a DNF, although I did skim to the end, so I don't know if that counts as reading. Jake is a bystander of bullying, and it's his story of how he kind of, takes a stance and be true to himself. Lily, on the other hand, I wasn't interested in Lily's story. It was mostly her just complaining about how she feels she's losing her brother because her brother isn't spending time with her as much. So this is Doll Bones by Holly Black. I think it's a good story. It's a little creepy, so if you're okay with creepy books, It's a good story about coming of age. It deals with the idea of masculinity and what it means to grow up, what it means to go into the role that society expects you to. So, Every Soul a Star by Wendy Moss. I expected really good things out of this because the title sounded really good. I was disappointed. And the plot was unbelievably slow. I so convinced myself to continue reading this because I was biased into thinking that it would be this wonderful philosophical novel, and it wasn't. This is from the Horses of Dawn series, The Escape. I don't think this is a terrible novel. I believe it is a wonderful novel for its target audience, which is like kids and young children. I think I'm just getting to the point where I'm super annoyed with talking, comprehensive, and somehow overly intelligent animals. I love the historical addition to this novel. One thing I absolutely hate is when the main character is glorified. And that is what the author did in this novel. And I just wasn't having it. Estrella was made too perfect when it is obvious that she is not. So this stack of books is a stack of books that I've decided to keep on my bookshelf because I thoroughly enjoyed them. We have is Pride and Prejudice by Elizabeth Elberg. It follows Pride and Prejudice. I've never read that, so I can't tell you much. But it's basically about a girl named Lizzie, and she is a scholarship student at an all-girls school. And she thinks Darcy is a prick until she actually gets to know him. And I think it's a really cute book. It's really fun. This one is The Avery by Catherine Odell. And Clara goes out to prove the Glendovers' innocence. So this is Clara's search for justice. I think it's a fun mystery novel. This is The Ranger in Time. I did not think I was going to enjoy this because it's a kid's novel. I mean, look how big these words are. We get like pictures every chapter. It's a kid's novel. I didn't think I would enjoy this, but it's short. It's pretty short. It's short and it's fast paced, and the plot is great. So I have no complaint. I don't hate it. It's fast paced, fun. You could probably finish it in a day. If you're just looking for something to read, this is awesome. Dark Secrets Don't Tell. I finished this book within a day, like 24 hours. I finished this within 24 hours. It's a thriller about a girl who comes back to the town where her mother died to figure out the truth, to uncover the truth. Because she knows in her heart that the conditions for her mother's death were not the truth. And a series of unfortunate events. I did not think I would enjoy this, but I actually ended up enjoying it a lot. The Netflix series does not do this book justice. This book is pretty good. It's about the Belair children. Their parents have died, and they're trying to survive, even though Count Olaf, is attempting to steal their inheritance and potentially kill them after he receives their inheritance. So our last book is The Teacher's Funeral by Richard Peck. I really did enjoy this book. This book was so fun and so whimsical, and it was just an amazing read overall. I really did enjoy it. I felt like I learned and reflected a lot on it, and I felt like it was just something that it's both fun, memorable, but you also get stuff out of it. Like, it means a lot to read it. It has a nostalgic kind of feel, so you really do get that. Not sure why, but this book just really resounded with me, and I love the characters, and I love the events, and I love kind of the coming of age. So this book is basically just about our main character coming of age and learning about life, and he and his friends growing up. This book just hits some chords, about childhood.